Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Bourbon Obsessed Bourbon Podcast. I am Ed from bourbonobsessed.com, also known on Instagram as bourbon_obsessed. I publish bi-weekly newsletters featuring the latest bourbon news and releases, and also do this podcast for your listening pleasure. I am here again with my friend and bourbon aficionado, Dean Langdon, and we'll be discussing two whiskeys from Westward Whiskey. Dean, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, Ed. Glad to be back on again, and I appreciate being able to sample these Westward Whiskey samples. They make a wonderful product from at least these samples. And of course, they're not bourbons. They are single malt whiskeys. So that gives us a chance to sort of expose our listeners to a different type of whiskey that's sort of, I guess, a cousin of bourbon, right? Would you call it that?
Sure, an American cousin, American Single Malt, which, as we know, is now its own style as of time flies. I've lost track of time, but it was sometime in the last few months, I believe.
Yeah, it just became recognized as a unique style of American whiskey. So American Single Malts.
Neither of us have a vast experience with Westward, although it's been something that we're both American Single Malt whiskey fans, so we've both been very eager to try. And the company was kind enough to send us these two bottles to sample. So we're appreciative of that. And we're looking forward to giving them a try. Well, we both tasted them already. We're looking forward to discussing them. And Dean, do you want to give us a little backstory here?
Yeah, let me talk a little bit about Westward Whiskey. Westward Whiskey is actually a brand name for a company named House Spirits Distillery. They are in Astoria, Oregon, outside of Portland. They filed a Chapter 11 bankruptcy not too long ago, and if you follow our podcast, you would have heard about that on the Bourbon Obsessed News podcast. That was in early April, about a month ago. That the type of bankruptcy they filed is to restructure the business and come out, sort of leaner and more efficient than what they were. So, and looking at some of the background there, they had almost a $10 million loss in 2024. And so that's tough to overcome. Their CEO is a guy named Thomas Mooney. He says they'll emerge stronger than ever. And that's what bankruptcy is meant to do, a restructuring bankruptcy. So they may be able to get rid of some contracts that aren't very favorable. They may be able to just, again, restructure things. This is a quote from Mr. Mooney. He says, "Our intention through this restructuring process is for everything to be business as usual. One of the things that is interesting about Westward is that every drop that we've ever put in a bottle we made from scratch, and we've never sold anything to anybody else." End of quote. That's interesting because I know they were doing contract distilling. They got an investment from a Diageo venture called Distill Ventures back in 2018, and that helped them expand their production. I believe they expanded to do contract distilling, and of course we know the market for that has softened. I tend to think that their problem comes from contract distilling, not from their own products. So I was able to find out, for example, that their sales in California grew 16% during 2024. So hopefully they'll be able to refine the process to preserve the Westward Whiskey brand and perhaps jettison some of the things that were costing money instead of making money for them. So that's about their finances. I really couldn't find much about what goes into their whiskey and how they make it, though, Ed.
No, it looks like a trip to Portland is in order for us.
I'm a big fan of the Northwest. I'm ready whenever you are. So
I'm ready. But no, I mean, seriously, we are both big American Single Malt whiskey fans, and I think that's a good part of the country to go to learn some more about it. And I would definitely love to visit at some point. So at this point, I guess we'll just be diving in. So the first one we're going to start with is the Westward American Single Malt Whiskey. It's the Cask strength version that they've sent us. It's bottled at 125 proof, and it's a single malt, so it's going to be 100% malted barley. Unfortunately, that's pretty much all we know about it. It sells for $99.95 according to their website, and we're excited to try it. Dean, what are your thoughts?
I quite enjoyed this. I don't usually, I get stronger tastes on the palate than on the nose, but this had a wonderful nose to it. I got aromas like, of course, the malt from the malted barley, but the first thing that hit me was like a cherry cola, and then I got some sort of like a new mown field, if you just cut your grass, and the aroma you get from that, the smell you get from that. So got a little bit of mint as the nose sort of worked its way through the process. What about you? What kind of things did you get on the nose?
Huh. Well, for both of these, I sort of got some flavors that I don't usually get as much. I got different types of chocolate from the two of them. From this one, I got sort of more of a like a bit of a sweeter, like richer milk chocolate from the nose, which I think I actually find quite noticeable. It's a little bit of caramel and then a little bit of tartness from like a tart orange peel, and I do get a bit of that, the malt character to it as well, a little bit of graininess. When I tasted it the first time, I said I had hints of, I don't know why I keep using this word because I can't pronounce it correctly, but anise or anise. But I'm not sure I'm getting that now. And then the other thing, I mean, it's 125 proof. I don't feel like I get 125 proof out of its nose at all. I mean, I think it seems. What did you think of I know you don't have them in front of you anymore. Dean liked it so much he finished his samples, so he can't be drinking along with me, and I'm doing it in real life. So when I ask him things, he can't actually go back to the whiskey.
On one of the, for our listeners, we don't just sample these once. We sample them 2 or 3 times to see what different, noses and palates we get. I got a little bit of ethanol burn on one of my occasions, one of my tasting occasions. I got a little bit of sawdust once, and I'm not sure in a good way. Like if somebody's making something out of wood and you get that sawdust smell, I thought that was an interesting taste. To your chocolate note, I got some of that on the palate, but I got like a bittersweet chocolate rather than a milk chocolate.
Well, that may be blending with that citrus that I got because I had that sort of tart orange peel. So if you sort of combine that together, maybe that's what we're perceiving, where you're getting more of that flavor than.
That could be. I mean, I got a grapefruit note on the palate in one of my tastings, which there's your citrus. Grapefruit's a little bit odd, I think, for a bourbon, and then I made a note. I don't know if you ever had a lychee. It's an Oriental fruit. It's like I just really struggle. It's like, what is that? Where have I tasted that before? But I actually got that, and it's a very unique taste. It's got a little bit of sort of an umami taste as well as a citrusy little bit to it. So, but then I also got like some more traditional oatmeal honey. I've got a note here that actually got like a French toast taste on the palate, which I thought was lovely.
I could see that almost French toast with some maple syrup.
Yeah. Yep.
It has I got very rich flavors out of it as well. I still got the chocolate continuing on. I thought it was a little bit of sort of a sweet and syrupy body to it. It still had a little bit of the malty graininess. Still has a little bit of that citrus that's continuing on. I mean, you put grapefruit in my head. So, I mean, I can get that. Especially as it's getting more into the finish, where maybe that citrus is turning a little more into it actually probably is. So I think that citrus for me is becoming more grapefruit like in the finish. I would buy that. And the finish also picked up a bit of white pepper spice. I mean, it picked up a lot more spice than earlier on. And
I have a note that I got some pepper way on the end of it. So.
Yeah, sort of came later on, and a little bit of pretty much it. I mean, it's a long finish. It's really enjoyable. I really like this whiskey.
I love the mouthfeel of it. I thought it was a sweet finish. It had some heat to it from the cask strength. On one of them, I got a little bit of like a cinnamon red hot note on the finish. Not really strong, but just part of the the end taste there. A little bit of char. But overall, I enjoyed this immensely and was happy to. You have to save a little bit of it for me, so the next time we're together, I want to try this one again.
I think you have a lot of power of suggestion over me because I did not write that cinnamon red hot down originally. I wrote more of a white pepper spice. But I mean, now I definitely can get that now. But I mean, we know our tastes change from day to day to some degree.
Yeah, that's
but
why we
either way,
taste these three times.
yeah, no,
That's
for
why we taste
sure.
these three times, right? Because, yeah.
And we try to get tasting notes that are as reproducible as possible, but I think that's still pretty difficult. But so the bottom line is, so it starts off with sort of richer flavors that at least I got the chocolate in the nose. It has some of the citrus, then goes into the taste and gets into a little bit of a spicier finish. But overall, it's got lots of flavor. The alcohol, that 125 proof is not at all overpowering at all, and it's a really pleasant whiskey to drink.
Yeah, I think the 125 proof sort of gives it the strength that it allows for that complexity. I mean, we're getting a lot of different layers here, and that's what I tend to find around that proof point. If it's well done, you things just develop. You the more you sip on it.
Yeah. And these single malts have different flavor. Well, there's a wide variety to what single malts can bring, of course. But I mean,
Hmm.
from the start, it's going to be a very different flavor profile than the bourbons. I mean, to me, that you generally, well, you get two varieties of single malt. You get the ones that are going to be just very grain forward, which some of the
Right.
American single malts have been. And then you get others, which are like this one, you're going to get more of the fruits and chocolates and the richer flavors and the maltiness coming through, but not as if you're eating a handful of it.
Right.
And this one
Yeah,
is very well balanced, complex, and yeah, very enjoyable.
it's nice when the malt is not it doesn't overwhelm all the other flavors, and that certainly didn't happen with this. It's there, it's in the background, but it doesn't take away from the other flavors that I'm getting over and over in this one. So
No, not at all. I really like it. I would definitely buy a bottle of this. So now our next one. So that's going to be their American Single Malt whiskey finished in stout casks, and those stout casks are from Fort George Brewery. And I noticed on their website they have a version of this that's 92 proof, but the version that they were kind enough to send us is the one that was only available to their whiskey club, and it's 115 proof, and it also sells for $99.95, but you have to be a member of the whiskey club to buy it. And the type of stout from Fort George Brewery that it's finished in is called, yet again, something I can't Matryoshka Stout is the name of the stout that it started with. And those are the barrels that this is finished in. And that's another brewery from that area. Again, we have no real firsthand knowledge of this distillery, but looking at their website, they have two different clubs you can join. They have the Expedition Club and the Founders Club. The Expedition Club, I think you buy one bottle a quarter, but you don't have to. It looks like it's one of those ones where you have the option to buy them and it doesn't cost anything to sign up. So it's actually, I'm honestly thinking of doing it so I can buy another bottle of this stout cask because I actually really like it. And then there's the Founders where you're buying three bottles per quarter. And then there's other benefits, many of them, which I think are most useful to the people that actually live in the area because they can go to the distillery for events and tastings and things like that. And I don't remember if there was a discount that was part of it. But anyway, this one, we're only getting the opportunity to taste because we're not club members yet.
that's very nice of them to send us the club pick. That's always appreciated. And again, there's a nice proof point. I like something, in the 100 to 120 range just seems to be a sweet spot. And, I haven't had that many stout finished bourbons. I've had, beer barrel finished, but I don't recall that I ever had one that was stout finished before. So, that's a nice mix of flavors just conceptually. And I think they've pulled it off. So, what kind of things were you getting on the nose, Ed?
So I haven't had a stout finished single malt, but I've had some stout finished bourbons. Bardstown Bourbon Company has two. They have the Founders and the Goose Island. And I'm a huge stout fan, so that always attracts me to a whiskey if it's going to be finished in a stout barrel. So I get a lot from this one. I really like this one as well. I mean, the nose, it's moderately sweet. You get quite a bit of sweetness, I think, from the nose. Again, I get the chocolate, but this is more of like sort of the drier cocoa powder kind of chocolate. And then I get some citrus as well, more of like a tangerine kind, not quite the same orange peel that I got from the other one. And it's got some darker kind of dried fruit in there. I had written down dried prunes, and I mean, I think I can stick with that.
Yeah.
Tasting it yet
I mean,
again,
I
and
certainly, I get a stout flavor, of course, which is to me, a stout, you're going to get chocolate. I mean, I got some coffee in there on the nose, and I got a little bit of tobacco. I didn't get the citrus on the nose, but again, I consider my nose weaker than my palate. But I thought it was wonderful. I mean, it just it sort of draws you in and makes you want to immediately take a taste of it.
Yeah, it does. It's got those full and rich flavors, and it does have a little bit of the roasted malt in the background from the stout. I think pretty subtle, but it's there. And then the taste, I thought was again, it's got some sweetness to it, and I got like a I don't know what's with me and the chocolate in these whiskeys because, like I said, it's not a flavor I usually talk about, but I got like a chocolate fudge kind of thing from it, and again, I got some of the tart orange as well,
Huh.
and then
Well, I got some dark chocolate on my tasting notes on this. A really strong black licorice flavor, more so black licorice than a pure anise flavor. But I got some white pepper. I got some. I didn't get citrus so much as like some stone fruit, some plum, some grapes, a little bit of apple in there. But it was an interesting mix of the chocolate, the stone fruits, the licorice. It was all great.
well, again, you're putting ideas in my head. I did not write black licorice on this one, but I can definitely get that now, and I think it's there, especially sort of it's in the finish as those other flavors continue and linger.
Well, and I can remember years and years ago, I actually made homebrew with friends, and we would put some actual licorice into our stouts. And so
Huh.
maybe that's just a flashback of sorts to those days. But I definitely got that taste on the palate, as I tasted through this virtually every time I tasted it.
Well, did one of the people that you used to homebrew with go on to open Fort George Brewery and they put a little bit of black licorice in?
As far as I know, they're all still in Lexington or Frankfurt, so I don't think so. I don't think
Mm.
so.
In addition to that, I definitely buy that black licorice now. Another flavor I don't usually say. For some reason I get that anise flavor more usually in the nose, and I rarely get it carrying through into anything. But I would definitely buy the black licorice in the finish, and it again gets some spice to it as well, and becomes a little drier towards the end with a little bit of tannins. But that's hardly overbearing, and it's really long and it's a very warming whiskey, I think. I mean, more so, honestly, even than the cask strength. I get like a sort of a deep warmth from it.
Yeah, I also got some licorice on the finish. I got more sweet flavors. I got like a little bit of malted milk ball, a little bit of honey in there. I didn't really get any dryness on the finish there, but it was a nice long finish. Again, just I can't say that it was very enjoyable. I really enjoyed sipping on this one. Working through the layers of it. It was just great.
Yeah, I would agree with the great part. I really like this one, and that bottle's already half empty. So between me sipping on it occasionally, giving you some to try, and then I've already shared this with a number of people just because I like it so much. I'm serious about thinking joining the club to buy another bottle of this because I think it's fantastic.
If they send you something and you like it, isn't that the whole idea? Join the club so you can get it all the time. And they, clubs like that give businesses a recurring revenue stream, and that's always important, especially when there's a market, a market downturn. And so we're going through it. I'm not going to say that your membership is going to save this distillery, Ed, but it can't hurt.
Well, you've seen how much bourbon I have. My membership could save the distillery.
It could. It might. Yeah.
But no, I mean the way I feel is like when brands are kind enough to send me whiskeys, if there's something I really like, and you've seen this because I bring them to bottle shares, and I try to let as many people taste them as possible. So and I do get quite a few things sent to me, and I don't bring everything to share, but I do bring the ones that I really like because I think if I really like something, my friends are going to probably like it too, and glad to help out brands where I think they're making something that's really special.
And we appreciate being exposed to things that we would otherwise, probably never get to taste. So, and really, what a great way for a brand to grow its reach. I mean, you're helping do that through your your various social media outlets, through this podcast, through your newsletters. And so, I don't want to sound too much like a sycophant here, but it really is important because not everybody can get this stuff. And so it's great to be able to see the breadth and the depth of the whiskey world in our country. We love it.
Yeah, we do love it. And I love the regional part of it too, which is why I love traveling around, visiting all the distilleries and trying everything where they are, because that's really cool. I mean, you could do that with beer at one point, and still, I mean, not at one point. You could do that with beer as it is grown, and now distilleries are doing the same thing, and I really like that. So I don't know what's going to happen with the whiskey industry in the future, but I really hope that there's always going to be local distilleries, just like there's the local breweries, and we can visit and try things that are completely different and different regional styles. I think that's what makes it interesting.
It really does. The different takes that people have on it, the different twists they put on it. I would point out you can do the same thing with wineries. People might be surprised how many wineries there are in Kentucky, and I don't know how much tourism it drives, but all over our country, we just have an amazing infatuation with alcohol, and that's an okay thing.
But all right, so,
wrapping up this week's version.
That about does it for this episode. I hope you've enjoyed this edition of the Bourbon Obsessed Bourbon Podcast. Be sure to join us next Monday for the new Bourbon Releases podcast. We already have quite a few to talk about. Also, be sure to like and follow us at your preferred podcast provider so that you don't miss an episode. And don't forget to tell all your friends too. You can also head over to bourbonobsessed.com to check out some of our over 300 bourbon reviews and over 50 distillery write-ups. While you are there, you can also sign up to have my newsletters delivered directly to your inbox. Finally, I can be found on Instagram at bourbon_obsessed and on Facebook at Bourbon Obsessed, and would love for you to follow me there as well. Dean, where can they find you?
Folks can follow me on Instagram at Dean of Bourbon with underscores, and please feel free to follow me. I love having more folks see what I'm doing. Thanks for having me on, Ed.
Yep. Thank you, Dean, and everybody have a great week. Cheers.